back to the compact car, I wanted to ask you for the other viewers, maybe you can highlight how important the 25K car is, not just for Europe, but we have some markets where this demand is totally there. How do you see it? I mean, the Highland, of course, the price is kind of now getting into a range which is pretty attractive as well for the European market. That's why I also think that the refreshed Model 3 would make totally sense to be produced in Berlin as well. But of course, the compact car will be the top seller for the European market. But how's
Yeah, I mean, let's face this, there's just a limited amount of people who can afford a car for 100K and even for 50K. Yes, there are a lot of people who are buying that. I never would have thought that I would buy a new car in my life because it's freaking expensive. So I could afford it lately, and I bought my first new car was a Tesla ever. And for the US people, it's probably weird to hear that. But, 2/3 of all cars that are sold in Europe are, bought from commercial companies, from fleet operators, from leasing organizations who are reselling them to consumers or leasing them. So, and they get special pricing, by the way, just as a side note. So only 1/3 is bought from consumers. So these cars are, after a year or so of the 2 years, poured into the private ownership. So that's much lower cost base. And a lot of people are more willing and able to pay that. And as Elon said on the call, which is totally right, a lot of people are just thinking about the monthly leasing rate in terms of a car. Can I afford 150K a month, yes or no, or 200 or 300 is a critical decision for a lot of people. So therefore, the 25K car, which, by the way, is probably meant actually without VA. So I wouldn't be surprised if that car cost 30 plus here in Europe finally. But still, that would be a game changer, because we all know how sensible the price is. And, the price elasticity is showing this very clearly. With every 1,000K you go down, the group of consumers you can sell this to is expanding exponentially. So therefore, it makes totally sense to go in that direction for Tesla, as it supports the mission to the advent of sustainable transportation. And, the problem here is that the volume producers that we have today, which is mainly Toyota and Volkswagen Group as the top guys in the volume low-cost ICE segment, they're going to suffer the most, simply because they are unable right now to produce battery electric vehicles, or partly even unwilling, but I think not capable is describing it better. They are not able to produce a car of 30K or 25K and make a profit. That's just, they are not making a profit with the BEVs they're producing right now, putting aside a few very expensive ones from Mercedes or BMW or even Audi, I don't know, Porsche probably on the premium segment. They're going to make some profit there, but nothing comparable with the ICE business. So what is the issue here? Their entire organization is depending on volume. So if we talk about VW and UW brand, most people don't recognize that this includes Seat and Cupra and also Skoda. And they're all making almost no money right now. So the analysis that I've seen is that the VW brand for VW vehicles makes a profit right now for all vehicles around 800K. And Skoda, I think, was 1,000, if I'm not mistaken, or 1,100. Which is almost nothing. So it's very, very small and narrow. And this includes the BEVs they are producing and selling. So what I'm trying to say here is, with every 1,000K, Tesla's going down in terms of price and selling a vehicle still with a profit, it hurts them badly, because the TCO is coming on top for the people who are buying them at the end of the day. So this is a deal you almost can't deny. And knowing that in a Tesla, you have a huge, services and a huge package included on the baseline already, which all the other automakers are not offering, you know that you can't compete on price, you can't compete on features and functions, and all you can do is try to go back to your brand loyalty and trying to push that, which is eroding big time. So lately, I've been showing a tweet where we've seen that in surveys, the brand loyalty from Tesla is way higher than from the rest of the brands out there in the market. So even that is eroding and going away. So, and that's creating an unbearable pressure on the large automakers. And I believe the situation is much worse than people believe inside. We see it now with VW in particular, that they have really a big problem in terms of costs. So we're trying to reduce by 10 billion euros, cutting costs on the labor side and some other areas. But what I'm missing here is the innovation. I don't see the innovation
especially
that is
software
required.
innovation. God damn it. VW is still so far behind. And I've tested also a Tesla from 2018 recently, and that I'm going to upload the video as well soon. And it's interesting to see that with the latest updates, it feels like a new car. It's astonishing how the effect of the user experience when you have also your it's like an iPhone. iPhone also has a great track record of actually updating their phones, even if they're older. You could have like 5 or 6 iterations of iPhones that have the latest software. And the same thing applies to Tesla. Even if the models are still older, it was a Model S P100D that I've tested. And yeah, it worked totally fine. It was pretty astonishing what they are capable of. And also with reducing complexity inside of the vehicle, that the software even makes more stuff and more things happening on the screen. Some people don't like that. There is, of course, a learning curve to get used to that. But I would say this is the best approach you could do, because functions will change in the future. And if you buy a Tesla, you know, for the next 6 years, at least for the next 6 years, you're going to get updates. When not even on the long run. I mean, depending on the hardware, but yeah.
So it's a competition in terms of the business model, actually, if you think about the Toyotas and VW groups of this world, simply because what Tesla is doing, actually, think about it. There are 4, maybe 5 different vehicle models on the market, which is ridiculously low compared to that what Toyota and VW have. We talk hundreds and thousands. And because you have just this very limited color options and interior options, there's not a lot you can choose from, which makes the purchasing process nice and short. The reason why nobody is complaining is because you have actually all and everything in there. I mean, it's a premium vehicle in terms of the interior, features, the infotainment, and all and everything. And this is impossible for the existing automakers to compete against, because the entire business model is based on the fact that they make the biggest margin on the options you buy on top. So you have these packages which mislead you each and single time, which are totally confusing. And this is done by intention. So this is not an accident. They've been doing this packaging of different options because their margin is going up there. And they know that no one would buy a base model, because with the base model, you just almost can't drive. I mean, it's possible, but it's really hard. They're marketing that base model, but they are never selling it. You have always these options on top. So consumers now realize that they've been pulling their leg for decades now, and that there's another option. For Tesla, this is fantastic because their approach enables them to reduce costs massively, which means and it remains to be, and it will be in the future, that they are the cost leader. And cost leadership means a lot in a transformation we are in, and it's totally underestimated. So what I'm trying to say here is VW can't change to a business model where they have 4 different vehicles on the market. Won't work. And as you said, the Cybertruck is a great utility, fun vehicle, but what holds Tesla back to provide a van or other commercial vehicles with stainless steel? Once they manage to produce them in masses, I believe they will. There will be problems and challenges, no doubt, but sooner or later they will manage it. And what holds them back to create a van in very, a van that you can use in different variations? People always say it's a weakness that Tesla has just so few models. And to a certain extent, they're right, because some people just want a different exterior, want to have stalks and this and that, which doesn't exist. So they are falling off the consumer prospect list from Tesla. But at the end of the day, if you just look at the insane demand that we have out there, and I say it again, insane demand, then there is really a threat. And why I'm saying insane demand? Because My definition of demand is once people are able to afford it, they will buy a Tesla. And this group of people is extremely big. If you define demand of, what people are able to buy right now, obviously there's with the challenges in terms of high interest rates, also challenges for Teslas in terms of selling Model S and Model X, just natural. But if we look, for instance, at other automakers, Mercedes-Benz is a good example, where I've been providing a tweet showing that they've been discounting big time. So we talk about 15, 20 and more % per vehicle across the entire product line. Yeah, so this is obviously ICE vehicles, but it's also battery electric vehicles. And this shows us that the issues are not only with the volume market from VW, the issues are also present with, and I would be extremely surprised if Audi and BMW do not have the same issue too. There is a problem out here, and the problem is going to be more obvious to the market with every day that is passing by.